Hi everybody, Andrew here, and this is a video on how I do a technical review of the eNews. Now the first thing I want to do is I want to click on View in Browser in the test eNews so that it opens it up, and then I can hit refresh to get any changes that happen. So you click right here on View it in your browser. Then it opens it up in your browser. So there it is. So what do we want to look at? There's 6 things I look at. I check every link in the eNews, both the image link and the text link. I check that the read mores are aligned properly. I check the dates and events. So I check basically to see how appropriate the date is. It should usually be next date with a date and a time. Sometimes it can be other things like a list of dates. I check to see if things are full width or sidebar as is appropriate. If there's already a sidebar like an employee image, it really doesn't look good to have the sidebar with the links to other articles. But if there isn't one, it's good to have that sidebar so that the text isn't too wide. And then I check for any external links to sites outside of wellspring.net to make sure that they open in new tabs. And that includes email addresses, because when you click on an email address, it opens your email program or your email site. And then finally, I check to make sure that all the articles have featured images. So here we have last week's eNews open in the browser. If I need to, I can just click refresh. This is Chrome. Anyway, here's the first article. It's got an image. And down here, you can't see it right now, but now you can see it. You can see the address. And so I can just visually confirm that the address is the same. However, there could be an error, like an extra space at the beginning, that I've seen that happen. So I actually click on both. Click on one, click on the other. And once they load, I can compare them and make sure they indeed go to the same place. So the next thing I'm looking for is, should it be full width or sidebar? Well, this is a full width, and it makes sense because it already basically has a sidebar because part of the content is this employee image. So this one makes sense. There's a separate video on how to get rid of the sidebar with the links to other articles, or how to make things full width, and how to put the sidebar in if it doesn't have something like this. Basically, the text would be too wide if you didn't have something. So we want either the sidebar or something that's like a sidebar in the article, but we don't want both. Next, we want to check to see if there's any links to external sites and make sure that they open in a separate tab. There does happen to be one in this article, this Kensington Congregational. You can see down here in the corner, it goes to kensington.org. That's not on wellspring.net, so we want it to open in a new tab. So I'm going to click on it to test it, and sure enough, it opens a new tab. That's what we want, so bravo. Now let's say that didn't open a new tab and we wanted to fix it. What would we do? Well, we click on Edit Post first. Now once that loads, you go down to that section, edit that section, and you want to stay in visual mode because you want the editing tool for the link. So if I click on the link, you get the editing tool. Click on Edit, and then click on the little gear here for link options. And that opens to this. And it worked because this open link in a new tab was checked. That's what we want because this is not on wellspring.net. If it were on wellspring.net, we'd want to uncheck this. Now I'm just going to cancel and close this. To check to see if there's a featured image, I could have just looked in that editing mode, but I like to check all the articles at once, so I do that a different way. Okay, so up here in News is All News. And once that loads, we'll see a list of all the most recent articles. And I just look at every article going back to an article in the previous eNews. And I just check to make sure that they all have images and that they're not a solid block color because that's what we don't want. Okay, so we've covered checking links. We've looked at full width versus sidebar. We've looked at making sure things open in a new tab if they are not a wellspring.net address. And we've seen how to look for featured images on all the articles at the same time. So all we have left is to look at read more alignment and next date in events. So if you see a read more button is not properly aligned, you log into MailChimp, you go to the section and click edit. When that opens up, then you want to go to this source, see it says source, icon here. Then you can see the source. Then you want to find the location of the read more image. Here it is, read more blah 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 PNG, and then there's another one here, read more PNG. And then you want to insert a break, less than BR / greater than. And you want to do that on the other one as well. Put a break in there as well. And you can see here that it's giving you a preview that you've done it correctly. And then you save and close. Now here's the rub. MailChimp will reformat this if you edit it again. So if you make any changes, you've got to do this again. So if I hit edit, you can see it messed it up. So I make whatever other change I want to make, then I go into source again, and I got to put it in again. Both of them. And now it's good again, so I save again. Okay, so now we want to look at checking the date format on events. So now we're back to the eNews view in the browser, and we'll just click on this Prayer for the Nation. Once that loads, move down, and you see that it's got next date. That's good. It has the date and the time. That's just what we want. But let's see how that was achieved. So you click on Edit, and then once it loads, you scroll down to this section. Click on Event, and then there it is, next date, date, time. If it weren't here, all you do is drag it down, and it makes it the last item, and then you drag it up to where you want it. There it is. But now we have two, so we don't want that, so I'm just going to delete that. And I just won't save this. So there it is. That's how I do a technical review of the eNews. If you have any questions, please let me know.